Meet Dave of Delusions of Grandeur, actor, producer, and director of films like Tales of the Forgotten. He has come to assemble a team of freaks, geeks, and even worse, film nerds, to discuss films ranging from mainstream to downright crazy. There is Tammy car enthusiast and Dave's fiance, Dustin reptile expert and overall horror collector, Jake environmentalist and fine art film critic, and finally Brandon, a therapist with a love of film that can only be seen as insanity. Together under Dave's leadership, they are Inside Movies Galore. Enjoy the show. Enjoy the show. To heal.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another exciting film journey here on Inside Movies Galore. I am one of your hosts, but tonight we are continuing the month with our good friend Brandon. I believe this is his month to bring us another film in the Brandon, you take it from here.
Yeah, sadly, of course, because we missed last week, we'll have to put Clerks 3 off, but we will see Clerks 3 again in March. Well, we will see it in March, many for the first time. But today we're doing Clerks 2, which is a 2006 film by Kevin Smith, trying to revive the Askewiverse after a previous ending, so to speak. So we're just going to talk about first times, I guess. Everybody has a first time, right? Break the Askewiverse cherry. Hopefully not on this film. But in any case, we'll start with you, Dave. Was this your first time seeing?
This wasn't my first time with Clerks 2. And I actually liked it a lot better than I did the first one. So, for some reason, I don't know why. Maybe it was the comedy. It was a bit better. And though I enjoy Clerks for what it is, I feel like the acting was done better in here, even though I know Jason was still on coke and whatever.
He was not.
Oh, he was not? He was
not for this one.
Not for this one?
Last time was the last time he was on like heavy drugs.
Yeah, we'll be talking.
Okay, so he's off the drugs. And yet he was and yet he still did what he did perfectly. I got a kick out of the fact that he was imitating Silence of the Lambs. So, that being said, I enjoyed the jokes better. Maybe the donkey show was a little bit on the sickoid side, but you know, knowing Dante's friends' tastes and things, it was definitely tasteless enough for the response that he got from it. So, it was enjoyable, and I thought it was interesting that they were working at a movies, you know. So,
well, they all connect. So, Tammy, was this your first time watching Clerks 2?
Yes, it was.
all this stuff is my first time that we're doing. um, I have to agree with David. I guess in a way, I kind of like this one better too than the first one. I don't know if it was maybe because I like the storyline a little bit better, maybe, or they seemed a little bit um how do you say, a little bit more grown up in this one. Or what, but um yeah, I mean, I I think I enjoyed the humor a little bit more in here too, because it was the humor was actually funny instead of just the normal, you know, swearing and everything, you know, and all the little things like normal. There was a little bit more to it, you know, that, you know, like when Randall's like harassing Elias, it kept on going, and it was going back and forth between them and stuff. It wasn't just the little one liners or this or that, there was
Oh,
more to
it's,
it.
especially when he was asking him about his girlfriend.
Yeah,
That was cool.
it's just, the humor seemed different. I guess, maybe, like I said, they were a little older in this one. Maybe that was it. I don't know, but I thought it was fun.
The sad thing about Clerks 2 is in Clerks 1, of course, they're in the early 20s. But with Clerks 2, they're about the same age that I would say myself and Jake would be around now. And they're
No, that Clerks, they say straight up they're in their 30s.
oh well.
Yeah.
Then their actors I think would be actually no, they're right. 2006.
I think they're not that much older.
They're about 5 to 10 years, I think.
Yeah, it's depressing.
But yeah, so go ahead, Tammy.
I don't know. I just, I guess I thought it was actually more fun than the first one, just because I think they were obnoxious. They were more obnoxious in the first one, I think, is what it was.
More
So-
crass and crude.
Well, yeah.
I like obnoxious better, but but it was fun.
All right. Well, Jake, was this your first time watching Clerks 2?
No, I've seen this a handful of times. It's my first time in a while. I don't think I saw it in. No, I'm pretty sure I didn't see it in theaters, and I'm pretty sure when I did see it, I'm pretty sure I was disappointed that I didn't see it until I saw it, and then I was less so. Let's put it that way. Although I will admit, I would have loved to have seen Rosario Dawson on the big screen in this movie. But anyway, we'll get back to that. Quick thing about the movie that to touch on something Dave said, and I think it's important to say at some point, so we might as well go ahead and point out. We might have mentioned last time with Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back that supposedly Kevin Smith has said that he did not enjoy making that movie. And a big part of the reason why was that Jason Mewes was under the influence so much during that film. And it got to the point where Smith almost cut him off, like just cut him out, said, I'm done with you. And he made him a promise. He said, if you can get clean, we'll make another movie together. And so Mewes got clean, and that's when they came back to the characters. So
He'd actually said that he had considered putting him in Jersey Girl, but Mewes at the time had not cleaned up fully.
Right.
So he did not.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why, even though they had sort of an ending for the universe, they came back to it. But as far as for me, I'm going to agree with Dave's point about it being a little cruder. I'm going to say most of Kevin Smith's movies are, to one degree or another, could be called rather rude, crude, and vulgar. This is one of the rudest, crudest, and most vulgar films he's ever released. Quite possibly the most. And what's that?
I'm just laughing.
And I would actually have to disagree with because of that. I would have to disagree with the idea that this is funnier or a better film than Clerks. I will admit that much like Mallrats, and Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, and well, the better films like Dogma and Chasing Amy, it's a much more polished film than the first movie. There is no question. It is a much more polished film. But the just overall, the humor is very crass. The tendency in Kevin Smith movies toward what he himself has called dick and fart jokes is on full display in this movie. And I would strongly disagree with Dave's idea that the acting is better, particularly Elias. Oh my God, that kid overacted that role in a very painful way. It was like Will Ferrell in Get Hard level of cringe. And let's see, Elias is played by Trevor Furman. Yeah, it was just cringe on every level. And I think this is Jeff Anderson's weakest performance as Randall. Of the three movies, it is by far his weakest turn as Randall. Even though he does get a couple good moments.
Yeah.
And then the only good thing about the Donkey Show is that apparently that's what caused Rosario Dawson to sign on.
It was kind of weird how you actually see. I've seen several interviews with her, and all of them reference the Donkey Show and her fascination with it and her want to be there. And I'm like, that's something I did not know about you.
That being said, I like Rosario Dawson. She is a very talented actress, and my God, she was cute in this movie. And I like her character. And I will admit, Tammy said something about the story. The storyline with her and Dante is pretty good. It's a solid storyline. I do like how that one played out. There were elements of the movie I really liked. I kind of liked the Jackson 5 musical number. I thought that was pretty fun. And certain uses of music generally, like starting with Talking Heads and ending, with the Soul Asylum. Although I remarked to my brother as that came on, I'm like, actually both of my brothers were in the room when that came on, and I'm like, I can't hear this song without hearing Weird Al Yankovic. Syndicated.
Yeah, I kept thinking that in my mind too. It's like wait a minute, this isn't Weird Al. Who is it?
Yeah,
That's right. He actually parodied that song.
Right.
But I didn't realize the name of it.
Was it that King Diamond that played twice also?
They did play a couple of times, yeah. And I
didn't know if it was King Diamond or if it was Merciful Fate because,
And yes, the Silence of the Lambs reference was fun. Apparently, that's something Muse and Smith did on their own for fun, and they
especially when he got almost totally butt-ass naked and touched himself.
I think wasn't that the part where where Dante comes out of the building with his fiance, and they kind of were just like, "Let's go over there."
Yeah.
But it was, like I said, it's a fun movie. I do not dislike it. and I generally enjoy watching it, but the movie does have levels of cringe that are well beyond, I think, any other Kevin Smith movie. And so I have very mixed feelings about it, but you know, I didn't mind watching it again. Yeah.
Well,
I am going to advocate for Elias though, because if you get the whole Bible camp vibes off of him,
Well, it's
just
kind of hard not to. It's like
the-
they scream it. There's nothing subtle about it.
yeah, he's definitely not a subtle character.
Yeah.
imagine if Elias was like extracted from a cult and
Now-
and put into this fast food restaurant.
Now,
No.
Have you seen Clerks 3 yet?
I have not.
I will say Elias's transformation for Clerks 3 did amuse me. And
Yeah.
so when we get to that, well,
I've told Dave and Tammy, y'all should just hold off because I'm very curious about first impressions
yeah,
for our discussion of Clerks 3.
right.
If I hadn't recalled, I wasn't certain whether the Jay and Silent Bob reboot actually has Dante and Randall in it, but it looks like it does, and it does take place chronologically before.
Oh, yeah,
So I have to revisit that next week.
right.
So sadly, Clerks 3 will have to wait until March. But
Yeah.
this is not my first time watching Clerks 2. I did see it in the theaters because I was super excited about it. Because by the time I was there, I was working in Emporia. I was majorly depressed, and I was looking for anything and everything. And I could go to see a movie on Tuesdays for like $6.
Nice.
So, well, which it was harder in Emporia, but I would come to town and I would occasionally see a movie. And this one I had to see. Now, I was in my mid to late 20s at the time. I think I was like 26, 27 at the time. So I wasn't quite able to fully appreciate the concept yet. Because I hadn't given up on life yet. So the overall concept I can definitely vibe with, of being in that time where you're looking at life and you're saying, I should be at these milestones. I need to get out. I need to do this now. I can understand that. And if I had watched that again later on, I think I've watched it only like 2 or 3 times. So I definitely understand that.
I didn't even get into that aspect of that. You're right.
So I could understand the vibe. And which I understood better about the second or third time I watched it, which I was in my 30s at the time. I felt like the humor I felt like I was really excited about Kevin Smith returning to the Askew-verse because I was one of those people who loved the Askew movies and had finally gotten to see them all by the time this came out. And I was so excited about them returning to it because I know, Jake, you like you like Jersey Girl, but I was not as impressed with Jersey Girl. I felt like it was kind of meh. And I felt like Kevin Smith just needed to go back to where he was at his strongest. And so he went back, and I felt like it was almost a parody of an Askew-verse film.
Yeah.
Like it felt like, okay, these are all the jokes, but then somebody told him, okay, take that, dial it up to 15 and go from there. And sometimes it hit pretty well. Like I really liked the part with Wanda Sykes and Randall mounting his campaign to take the word back, which none of us were saying that on the air because that would be very bad for us if you did that. But still, and Rosario Dawson was excellent in the movie. And I did like a lot of I like the overarching story and what that was supposed to stand for. But I felt like the humor fell flat in a lot of places because it went too hard. There were too many F-bombs. There were too many. They were trying to be too wild. And I felt like that hurt it. at the end of the day. It was still a funny movie. It was still a good time. I still enjoyed it. But out of the three, it's definitely the weakest. I used to be one of the major proponents for this film, but now I've watched it again. I now finally, maybe it's because I've gotten to the age where I can finally see what other people were seeing in this. I'm becoming a prude in my old age. Now that being said, the Donkey Show still has a place in my heart and forever will. I don't know if I can see it from the same way that Rosario Dawson did, but but I still do that, and I can even see that in her character being like, "No, I've got to come back and see this."
I am weirdly cannot keep from watching this.
And I do feel like some of the performances were weaker. I do feel like the Randall performance was weaker than it has been. I felt like there was less energy in it. There were some scenes where the energy was much higher, but I felt like it was there. I felt like Jason Mewes had been lacking something, but I feel like that sometimes happens when you've got somebody who's been used to using, drugs and stuff to supplement it all, and you're trying to find your groove again, because he did find his groove later. Because I do remember in some of the later, like Clerks 3 and Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, I think he did find his groove a bit better. Mm-hmm. Even Madness in the Method, if you've seen that movie with him, he definitely has found a lot more of a groove. Mm-hmm. And I do find it funny because he quit officially in 2003, and we're not talking like mild stuff here. Mm-hmm. I mean, in Clerks, it was just alcohol and weed. In Mallrats, it was mostly alcohol because he cut back on the weed for Kevin Smith in order to do it. But for Jay and Silent Bob, it was heroin and cocaine. And he was bad on heroin, according to what it was. And that's a nasty drug. Mm-hmm. He'd probably be dead now if he continued as he had been. Mm-hmm. So he quit in 2003, went to rehab. The story that he actually told about, in the film about being caught and sent to rehab and all that, that's actually somewhat true to his life, of him actually being caught and thrown in rehab, and that was the start of his recovery. Mm-hmm. So he did manage to truly loop into that. So, good for Jason Mewes on that, especially considering I've heard he's one of the nicer people in Hollywood when it comes to actors. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of weird. Like I said, Kevin Smith went down the other ramp by becoming almost obsessively addicted to weed. Mm-hmm. Because he was high all the time, according to what people were saying towards when he decided to quit. Then he just out of nowhere decided, I'm done.
Well, was that related to his heart attack?
I mean, that happened years after the heart attack, though, because that only happened a few years ago.
Well,
let me see. Kevin Smith.
I don't know, because I know he had some serious health issues, and he turned things around there.
Yeah, he quit. When 2023.
Yeah.
So his heart attack was way before that.
Right.
I mean, his heart attack was in 2018. So yeah, he just decided he was just done with it, which is good, I mean, the man wouldn't even touch weed. According to what he had said originally was his reason for not doing it, was that somebody once told him in high school, you're doing weed, then that means that you've got to do that in order to laugh at your own jokes. He's like, well, I'm funny without the weed, damn it. Mm-hmm. And then he would be there. He was just only a cigarette. Now, what's funny is that he quit cigarettes when he started doing weed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The heart attack was in 2018.
Yep. That's what I said. Yeah. So, like I say, it was some years. So with the Skewiverse, it was a complicated tale. There's a lot of different stories. There's the story as Kevin Smith tells it. There's the story as other people tell it. Kevin Smith would say that he had actually been thinking about doing Clerks 2 for a long time, and he was just waiting for the right time to strike. He had been tapped to do the he had finished Jersey Girl, which didn't bomb but didn't make back what it originally cost, because it cost $35 million and made only 28. Then he ended up he was going to direct Green Hornet, but then had his epiphany to do this, and he had been wanting to do this all along. But there was also other people who say that he had been in a deep depression after what happened to Jersey Girl, because he had been trying to break away from the Askewiverse and from the fart jokes and all of that, and be a serious director. And then because of that, he ended up deciding to come back to The Well, because he knew that was his strong point. And with Jason Mewes in recovery, it was the perfect time to do so. I'm sure the real story is somewhere in the middle. But we ended up with Clerks 2. He did not have a hard time getting most people back, which is weird that Randall was the holdout, because Randall's the one that had nothing going on. But Randall was very skeptical about coming back to it. Or Jeff, I should say.
Jeff Anderson, yeah.
Yeah, but after seeing the script and watching Kevin Smith's gun-ho-ness about it, he gained more interest. Because apparently Kevin Smith was literally editing each scene as they shot it. He was just staying up at night, editing each scene and cutting them and all that, which is something that you see in films like, me or Dave make, but it's not something you usually see in the high budget space. And unfortunately, you also have the poison aura of Weinstein around this as well.
Yeah.
Which is part of why Rosario Dawson is in the film, because they wanted a big name in there for their investment.
Right.
They had a list of characters, and she was the one they thought would not do it, but she was the only one that did want to do it. And the Donkey Show was apparently the big dragon.
Right. Well, one thing I read, and I don't know if it's true or not, but in light of things we now know about Weinstein, makes you wonder. But I think Dave already referenced what we find out about Elias's weird-ass belief system. And particularly...
Yeah, I think his parents pretty much kept him under a rock with Christianity, and also he was he had been heavily influenced by Bible camp.
Well, his so-called girlfriend, as he's telling Randall about the things that she had said, why he hadn't gotten anywhere with his girlfriend,
because of the trolls.
Yes. Apparently, according to what I read on IMDb, and like I said, I don't know how true this is, but Harvey Weinstein wanted a scene with pillow pants that I think was going to be played by Jason Mewes. And Mewes wanted the scene because he wanted to keep the set. But they decided not to. And I personally don't think the movie loses anything for not having that. But
apparently the movie's original cut was 120 minutes long.
Right.
And then they cut the script, and then it went down to 100 minutes, and then apparently it got cut more to be what it is now. Apparently the opening was a lot longer than it is now.
What is that? It's about 100 minutes.
Because a lot of the it's 97. Yeah. Apparently the opening was a lot longer, because it was, like I said, it was originally scheduled to be about 2 hours. And before it even starts rolling, apparently it was almost an hour in, which that apparently a lot of people said that that was one of the major roadblocks, was that it was very slow to start. Because Kevin Smith had written a lot of what do they call it, Clerks-esque stuff into that first hour. So they were basically doing Clerks for the first hour and then deciding, okay, now we can ramp up the story.
So they weren't going to burn the store down right away. They were going to do some time there.
They were doing basically, once they burned down the store at the beginning, they were going to spend a whole bunch of time just doing basic jokes about people working fast food for like the first hour.
Okay.
Which could have worked out in a lot of ways. But I admit distracts from the pacing in the story. So speaking of burning down, I guess we go in with Dante waking up for his usual shift. He opens up the thing and then sees that the store is on fire.
Yes, did not notice the smoke until he opened up the storm blinds or whatever. But
stares at it a minute and then immediately calls the fire department. I do love how Randall just shows up, doesn't even pay attention.
Walks right in.
Just walks right in.
Yeah. It gets shoved out of the store by a fire. Yep.
It's like, don't you realize this thing is like burnt to a crisp, you know?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I left the coffee pot on.
Yeah.
And a lot of this technically was supposed to be the end of the Askew-verse. I will say that, as we talked about in Jay and Silent Bob, theoretically it was supposed to be the end. Though, again, according to Kevin Smith, he purposefully left the end at that Alanis Morissette thing at the end of Jay and Silent Bob. He left it in the middle of the book so that he would have the ability to come back. Now, I understand people who say that, yes, that was planned, but I feel like that's bullshit. I feel like he truly planned to just drop the Askew-verse and get into serious filmmaking. And that just didn't work out. No offense to Kevin Smith. He's one of my favorite filmmakers, but I do feel like that was the case.
Right.
And it's understandable. You go back to The Well. I mean, shoot. The guy who made it with him, God, what was his name?
Scott Mosier?
Well, Scott Mosier had even talked about, I'm done. I'm not doing any more of these. Because apparently Jersey Girl just kind of like, that was it for him. He was like, no, fuck this.
Yeah.
So, like I say, I don't know. Because I was listening to that, and I was listening to the commentaries. I was watching the documentaries, and, there was that one thing that came on there. It's like, yeah, Kevin Smith seemed really hyped about this being the best thing ever, but he said that about Jersey Girl, too.
Well, and it makes sense because I remember that. I remember all the run up to Jersey Girl and everything. One of the reasons why I'm a bit of a booster for that movie, I'm not like, I don't love the movie, but I feel like Jersey Girl gets a really bad rap, mainly because it was not a typical Kevin Smith film. And I personally hate it when people get needlessly pigeonholed. I feel like he got pigeonholed and he was feeling it. I think he was trying to break out from being pigeonholed. And I think a lot of his fan base just gave him a raw deal. They just were not willing to go along.
And he was very reactive to his fan base back in the day.
Yeah.
Because he really wanted to be that person who was, with the people who loved his films and stuff like that. He really wanted to be involved. But what's funny is that if you listen to him speak about it, he was bad-mouthing Jersey Girl. It's like, well, I didn't have any creative control, and it was just me letting other people make all my decisions for me during the movie. But if you'd listened to him prior to that, you'd sound like he was behind all the decisions in it. So, like I say, I feel like there was some bitterness there.
Oh, I'm sure.
But like I say, they do that, and then of course it cuts to, and of course like, oh, left the coffee pot on again. It's like, yeah.
Yep.
And
So
then
what do? They get a job with lots of flammable stuff.
I was gonna say, then they go to work for a fast food restaurant, which is movies from Dogma.
Yep.
So, what did y'all think of the setup to this, of them opening up the quick stop and it just being on fire?
A lot of savages in this town.
Oh, it was funny. It was funny.
Yeah.
Funny to see the quick stop being, and then them showing up to movies the next day. It was like,
I did love the part where Randall just walked in. Just did not even notice, just walked right in.
I had no issue with the opening of this film. I thought that they did a great job with it.
Yeah.
I thought it was a spoof at first because you see him open that door, you know, you see him open that door, see the fire, and he closes the door. And so I thought this was just like some spoof thing or whatever. He was just like not awake yet or something, you know? And then when he opened it again and then the fire's really there, I'm like, oh, well, I guess maybe it really is on fire.
Almost like something from the Clerks cartoon show, you know?
Yeah.
Could it
What's
really have
this one?
started on fire like that from a coffee pot?
Oh, if it's not working right, you can definitely get a fire from one of those machines.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
Especially as I doubt that they were very. I can't imagine Randall's being very responsible of putting things away properly.
Very responsible or responsible, period.
Yeah.
well, it just makes me think because you know I opened the gas station I ran and I closed it at times too. So you know I remember turning on coffee pots and I remember shutting them off too. You know. So.
And you got to look at it. Yeah, I mean, you got to look at a lot of people. Like the owner of the Quick Stop, you know, was cheaping out on everything.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, the likelihood that he had faulty wiring in that store is pretty high.
Yeah. So it wouldn't have taken much to get that place up.
Yeah.
He didn't exactly have people who really gave much of a crap about it.
nope.
In there. Which does change by the end of the movie. But what did y'all think about them going to work for fast food?
They had a hard enough. Well, Dante alone, without his friend, could probably have run that place on his own.
Oh yeah.
Because I think without the influence of Randall, he could have been a very respectable person.
I wasn't surprised to see Dante there really too much, but Randall.
Well, you know,
And
where
I was
Dante
surprised-
goes, Randall goes. It's a package deal.
Yeah.
I was surprised though to see Randall actually doing something though.
But was
Well, Randall was okay at. Randall does the typical routine shit. But you notice that they were making. He was just getting on and making burgers ahead of time. That's a lazy ass move.
He was making breakfast stuff.
You know,
He was
I've worked
making
fast food.
breakfast sandwiches.
I mean, movies must be crap for like their quality.
Why do you think they were targeted by the angels in Dogma?
because I mean, you make that stuff that early, you're just putting it under heat lamps at the best.
Exactly, and a lot of fast food joints do that. You know, that's how you keep them fast.
Maybe I was spoiled by working for Arby's, but we rarely ever did that stuff.
Well, Arby's is absolutely better than a lot of the chains out there. Not that I would say they're super high quality, but
we always were told you don't make the stuff until they order the stuff. Or if you make extra stuff, you make sure you toss it if it's out for X number of minutes. Because you'd only make extra stuff if you were on a rush and you knew you were going to get like that it was going to all sell through within minutes anyway. But yeah, that just, I don't know. I was just thinking to myself, my gosh, movies must suck.
Well, I mean, like I said, it's fairly typical for a lot of fast food places. Certainly, I don't do a lot of fast food myself. I really don't. But I've been in my share of places, and I feel like I see the stuff on the heat lamps at most of them. But I don't know what their timer is. I don't know if it's a half hour, an hour, 2 hours.
Because I will tell you right now, burgers are dead under a heat lamp after a very short time.
Yeah.
You don't put burgers under a heat lamp.
Well,
But he wasn't making the burgers yet. He was making breakfast sandwiches.
Well,
those would have a lot. I was going to say with burgers, oftentimes you'll have things like lettuce and tomatoes and stuff, and that you definitely don't want sitting under a heat lamp for a long period of time because it will be nasty.
see, to me, they look like burger patties that he was doing. They didn't look like sausage patties.
They did clearly show the egg-like product.
Yeah, I did see that, which that didn't make me feel because egg-like product actually hit the griddle like it was buttered, like it was just oil.
Oh yeah, that they cut it from that roll. He just cut.
And I think I read that they used a closed down Burger King for the setting of the store. So I'm sure the interior layout was probably very much Burger King type layout. I'm almost sure Burger King does the heat lamp thing, but
Well, Burger King microwaves their burgers, so they claim it's flame broil, but they take the patty and they microwave it and they put it on there.
Yeah.
I will say that that movie burger that they were advertising, it looks stacked.
The movie burger
if it had actually been made by real professionals.
Now, the movie burger that Randall made later on, I did not like.
No.
Oh, the one with the special ingredients?
Yeah. The one that Jason Mewes was eating outside, and it was like, hey, this tastes like flies and something or other. And
flies and
actually, that joke, one, was a callback to Mallrats, and two, I felt like was a little bit too obvious, but still.
Yeah.
But essentially, you have them introducing themselves. You introduce themselves as what they're working, and that this is Dante's last day because he's going to leave with his fiance, and they're going to get married in Florida, and he's going to work at his wife-to-be's car wash business there. And she does come in there and show up, which she's wearing a shirt with Mrs. Hicks on there. Which I believe is actually, isn't that played by Kevin Smith's wife?
Yeah, I was going to say it's the Mrs. Kevin Smith.
Which is actually more acting than she did in Jay and Silent Bob Strike.
Right. And their daughter has a cameo in this one as well.
Yeah.
Yep. Very short. But
like,
which I wonder what Kevin Smith felt like when Dante was actually mooching with the wifey, like during the whole scenery or the whole shebang or whatnot,
Well, if you look at it, you can understand. I mean, if he's wanting her to act in that, then he would be professional enough to understand it.
And I think I saw that she was the backup to play Becky. Like if Rosario Dawson had said no, it probably would have been Jennifer Smith in that role. And I think it's probably fortuitous that it didn't go that way. Not that she's bad. I just
I
after
think she did excellent in the part that she was in.
yeah, I was going to say I can't really see her in the other role because she. But again, having seen her in this role, I guess I'm biased thinking that that's more the role she should play. I don't, you know.
But yeah, I mean, I know when they went out there and Randall was like, when you started basically dating my best friend, you were not. I don't consider you a woman now. And then of course flashes him, and he's like, "Yeah, it's like you want me to show you your my." It's like no, and then he leaves, and then he's like, that he's going to now imagine us he's going to think that you want us in a threesome, right?
Sure enough, when Randall comes back, I think she wants us in a threesome.
Yep.
But and of course her big thing is like oversized clit.
And one of Dante's biggest things is he has no filter. So
yeah.
As soon as he knows something about one of the women that he's dating or going out with, he immediately is like a sponge.
Well, the weird thing with Dante is that it's his relationship with Randall, is that basically he trusts Randall implicitly with very little basis in why that would be, because it seems like Randall betrays his trust in almost every single time. But I mean, but it does show that they are that close. I mean, they are basically this inseparable group, and you can see Dante. I mean, you can see Randall is working his best to try and deal with that. You also then introduce Elias, who is Jay and Silent Bob get introduced first. Mm-hmm. And as I said before, Jay talks about as he's dealing about how he got off of the stuff, and basically tells the same story that basically Jason Mewes of how Jason Mewes got clean.
Well, and also he does the we got a cameo here from frequent Kevin Smith collaborator Ethan Suplee. Apparently both Suplee and Jason Lee were busy filming My Name is Earl, but they took a break to show up for the movie.
Oh, and, I mean, we even had Affleck show up with a wonderful handlebar mustache, as I might add.
Well, according to IMDb, the part that Jason Lee plays was supposed to be Matt Damon, but Damon couldn't make it. Like, he was too busy. So they had Jason Lee instead. And it's kind of funny. I've only seen a few episodes of My Name is Earl, but Lance Dowd is almost the polar opposite of Earl. He's almost the polar opposite. And it's like, because wasn't the conceit of that whole show basically Earl was going around trying to do good and fix things? And it's like the complete opposite of Dowd. But it was interesting. But yeah, we see, like I said, a brief appearance from Suplee there, and I think the other guy he was with was like someone who'd bought from Jay in a previous movie. He was like reprising the role. But yeah, Jay comes off as different,
born again,
and Suplee is like, I don't know about this guy. No, he goes, oh no.
Well, yeah, he was all Jesus this and Jesus that.
Well, he's wearing a Buddy Christ shirt,
right?
We see that Buddy
Fresh off Dogma.
Yes.
Well, I mean, technically, Dogma is canon to this world.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, Jay and Silent Bob did actually do that whole thing in Dogma and this world at the same time. So,
and there is a part. I mean, and they met God, and God was Alanis Morissette.
Yep.
And Jay, of course, probably forgot that God doesn't speak directly to mortals. There's that funny callback later where Becky calls down from the roof, and Jay looks up, Lord, It's like, that was fun.
But you have that, and of course, then you also have the introduction of Elias.
Mhm.
Who we've gone over Elias enough to show me the sheltered, all this stuff. He's kind of Randall has kind of made him his bitch, and Dante is the one there to basically call Randall off when Randall is getting too harsh.
Yeah.
And I think that's where you have the appearance of Kevin Smith's daughter, where they cover the girl's eyes.
No. She shows up in the window later when Dante's driving around.
I do know there was a cute behind the scenes thing where he's talking like, and what do we work for? Ice cream. And Kevin was like, that's right. We all work for ice cream.
Yep.
But it sounds like from what y'all have said before, for Jake, you felt like that this was overacted. But for Dave, you really loved Elias as a character.
I really did. Partially because I look at him as freshly extracted from a cult.
Well,
like the Branch Davidians or something like that.
I will say one part of the movie that always stuck with me that did kind of amuse me was where we get the dude who shows up who's a Lord of the Rings fan, and it's like you get the of course he and Elias are geeking out, and but that's where Randall does his little, and it's one of the simpler things that Randall does in the movie. It's one of the less offensive, unless you happen to be a Lord of the Rings super nerd, then you'd be offended. And I admit, I think it's vastly reductive, but supposedly it is based on Kevin Smith's actual opinions. But Randall's description of Lord of the Rings always amused me.
Oh, when he's like, "This is the first movie."
Yeah.
This is the second movie. Fall, doop, and then this is the third movie. Acting like he was dropping the ring in the volcano.
Shrugs and walks away.
Yep.
Well, the second one, he like hops to the side at one point.
Yeah.
And then he's like, and this is a valid point. Like, why didn't the movie stop at the logical ending point and not the 25 endings that followed?
Yeah, well, the book was bad about those.
The book was bad about that too, and it's an exaggeration. There weren't 25 endings.
No.
I think it's safe to say there were close to a dozen.
And the book was much worse about endings.
Yes.
I remember that.
I think the movie did away with 2 or 3 of the endings from the book.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
I will say I have seen it. Like, I remember in college, there were definitely some very uber Christian people who still had a lot of nerd fandom going.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we had one that we both knew in Roanoke, who was very religious, who was very into Dune. He was just a huge Dune fan.
Right.
But I felt like he was more of the after effect of that whole thing than he was the Elias effect of it.
Right.
But yeah, and it will be interesting when we come back to this in March and you see what Elias has become as time has gone.
A total goth.
I mean, of course, according to Randall, he's training up Elias to be his new best friend because, Dante is going to be gone. So he has to do his work to do so.
Right. They do manage to corrupt Elias a little bit during the course of this movie.
And I've got to admit, if you think about things from Randall's perspective, which is a hard perspective sometimes to hit, Randall was, in his opinion, doing Elias a favor by bringing him to reality.
Right.
But Randall is not necessarily the kind of friend you want.
No,
But
Randall will tell you the whole cold, hard truth, and in the worst possible way ever.
But in the meantime, but usually Randall is one of those that he does have a fierce loyalty to his friends. It's just there's a lot of fallout from being Randall's friend that comes into it.
Yes, he has a his own viewpoint on the world. And again, I go back and forth. Sometimes I'm like, this dude is, a few weird quirks aside, he has some quirks I can't get on board with. But his general view of humanity, there are times when I'm like, okay, dude, I'm with you.
There is a part of me, especially that 20-something part of me that still remains, that still envies Randall's ability to not give a crap about
Oh,
it.
yeah. I had that moment today. This kid let loose with an ear-splitting shriek like 4 feet behind me. And I was like, if I was out of F's to give, my reaction would have been very different. Because certain frequencies cause me physical pain, especially at high volume. And that's what this kid was doing right behind me.
But you also notice as the movie goes on, really that there is the major downside to being Randall. I mean, most people know this already, but if you didn't, it is spelled out by the end.
Yeah.
And of all people, Randall knows it the best.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it's a sad thing. Randall is a sad existence.
Right.
But I still go back to the ecstasy and joy he had in movie world back in the first movie.
Right.
But we do introduce Becky as our next character of note. I'm just hitting the highlights because there's a ton of little exposition scenes and stuff like that. But Becky is, of course, Rosario Dawson's character.
Mm-hmm.
And you find out that
she's the store manager.
She's the store manager, and she and Randall are very close friend-wise, and they had a little alliance when they got drunk one night.
She's close with Randall?
Sorry, not Randall, Dante.
I was going to say.
But
I was just going to say, did I watch the wrong movie?
you realize that he's not going to last once you're gone.
No.
But she as a character, she's more laid back. She is a free spirit, which is very different from Dante's girlfriend / fiance, who is very controlling, very on top of things. She knows what she wants, and she knows what she wants for him. She knows she knows everything there. Whereas Becky is more of I want to take things as they go. I don't want to nail myself down. She's there because she's trying to take care of her father, so she's just kind of stuck there while her father's recovering. And her and Randall are very close friend-wise. And you do see a repeat of the Dante toe nail painting scene from the first Clerks film.
Yeah, I keep remembering a song, a punk song that I knew, Wednesday 13, where it started out. If you wanted to paint your nails and answer to the name bitch, for some reason, I don't know why when I think about that. But he's painting his her nails, but then he's kind of Becky's bitch. So
Well, I mean, she points out basically that a lot of women are there for the good-looking guys who are the, bad boys and so on. But eventually, they come around and then they go for people like Dante, which Dante does not take that as a compliment.
Well,
No,
yeah,
not at all.
like that. She's played the field. She's ready to settle down. Whatever.
He's the guy that they want to settle down with.
Right. They
She
are.
wasn't like totally. I don't think she was really totally trying to cut on him.
Oh
I
no,
think
she
she was
was.
just trying to say that I think that like she was saying that most women go for this and this and this, and then they realize they're not going to get anywhere in life with them.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Well, I mean, I don't know if they get anywhere in life with Dante either.
well, no, but they're.
Well,
I think she's trying to say that the Dantes of the world are more reliable and
Yeah.
more they're more relationship material than your fantasy guys that you get.
oh, how little they know.
Well, the Dantes are far more controllable anyway.
Yes.
Uh,
And there's a little bit of an echo of the first movie with Veronica and Caitlin, although it's not an exact echo. But Veronica was more take charge. She was a little bit more controlling. She, I think, genuinely cared for Dante to a degree that is much more than. I'm drawing a blank. Who's the fiance? Is Emma? Emma. Okay. And Caitlin was, again, the more free-spirited, what have you. The big difference, and she and Dante were actually pretty good friends. The big difference there is that I think Becky is probably a better friend than all three of the others put together, really.
Yeah.
She actually is legitimately his friend, and she's looking out for him in a way that the others really weren't.
Sadly, there is a part of me that thinks of Dante and his personality that Emma is probably the best for him because he doesn't want to make decisions for himself.
No.
He is that pathetic person who does not want to make any decisions for his life.
Mm-hmm.
Dante is the character that frustrates me eternally because there are pieces of Dante within a lot of us, and most of us really hate those pieces of ourselves. And with good reason. Because those are the pieces of ourselves that tend to hold us back. But Dante is ruled by that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Emma, sadly, is probably Dante's best chance for development.
Or at the very least, the best chance for quote unquote success.
Yeah.
If you look at success in the way that it's usually measured,
because he would have done what he was told. He would have, he wouldn't have been any happier with life, but I don't know. He probably would have been richer, so he might have been a little bit happier in life.
He might have ended up a blue collar Niles. I always remember the line. The line where Niles tells, I think he was telling Fraser, I like to know what I want before Maris tells me. It's like I could see Dante being like that, like he does making decision that he knows Emma will end up making for him anyway.
Well, because Dante hates making decisions for himself.
Yes, he does.
And he wants somebody to not just make decisions for him, but to make the decisions that he wants to make. And that's a hard thing. And like I say, that's why Dante is a frustrating character for me and not one that I really like as a character. Those rare instances where I identify with Dante are not good times. Those are usually bad times when I identify with Dante, and I'm like, God, why am I identifying with this? I feel bad
Well,
for myself.
the thing that I noticed in this is okay. Um, yeah, Dante and Emma were all making out and seemed all lovey dovey and everything, right? But he, but then when you see him around Becky, right? That's her name, Becky, right?
Mhm.
Um, his whole demeanor seemed different. He seemed more relaxed. He seemed more himself. He just seemed at peace and everything. Where when he, even when he was sitting there making out with Emma, it seemed like almost like something he had to do.
Like he was making out with somebody else's wife, maybe the director's.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You could see
Yeah.
a difference in his demeanor and and just how he seemed. He it just it's like to where it's like I guess when further on in the movie when we realize how things go on or whatever, but it's like I don't think he really was ever in love with her because
He was in love with what could be. He was in love with the stability that she would bring.
Right.
with the finally getting out of the town and doing something different with his life and everything else. Yes, but with
Yeah.
her, yeah.
He loved what she represented, absolutely. Much more, yeah, I think than her herself.
Of course, so Randall is trying to do his best for his friend. So wants to make sure his friend has a memorable send-off. So is arranging a donkey show, which for the more explicit view, since we're a good ways in and YouTube probably isn't caring because of our numbers right now, is in Randall's mind a woman doing things with a donkey.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
That's,
My wife just saying
what is it? Kinky Kelly and the
Pinky Kelly and the sexy stud. Yes.
yes.
So he was like, I've got to do this for Dante because he's never seen one of these,
Right.
as most people probably should not have. Apparently, though, it is an attractive thing because even Rosario Dawson decided to sign on for such sites.
I think I think he makes reference to like apparently he and Dante saw something when they were kids and they talked about it afterwards, and
Yeah.
in Randall's mind somehow that became a bucket list item that they both equally wanted to share.
I think
Well,
he said
and-
something about they came across some porno or whatever when they were teenagers.
And in all fairness, that is Randall trying to be a good friend.
Yes.
Awkward and weird as that is,
Yeah.
that is Randall trying to be the good friend.
And of
Because
course-
in his mind, he's truly doing this for Dante. Yes, he's doing it for himself too, but he's doing this for Dante.
Just like in the first movie where he went to get the hermaphrodite porn, It was, hermaphrodites. I got it so we could watch it together. And then, of course, in typical Randall fashion, he is using the fully public and easily accessible internet computer at the place where they work to make the reservation.
I do love how he takes the phone, the personal cell phone that's only supposed to be used for emergencies from Elias to make the reservation.
Yes. My parents gave it to me to call them in an emergency.
Which, by the way, is something that younger people may not understand. See, back in the day, cell phones were not smartphones, and a lot of people didn't have them, and they were usually very expensive. Even in the far back time of 2006, they could be very expensive. So a lot of times people might have them, but only have them in case of emergencies, usually with their family. They might get them like a phone, like if you need to dial 911.
Especially if they had a overprotective family like Elias has.
And usually a donkey show is not something that families considered an emergency. Not all the time.
Well, back in the day too, cell phones, you only had so many minutes, and then
This is true.
There was
This was a time where you could actually still have phone cards where you could call in and have these.
And there were still peak, just like your normal. Back in the day with long distance, there was peak times to use the cell phone too, where it was cheaper, or you didn't use as many minutes, or things like that. Cell phones were a lot like, almost like your long distance phone lines at the time. You had your peak times, and you had like certain minutes and so many minutes, and if you went over the minutes, then you got charged, and So yes, most people were not using them all the time. Not like now.
Especially to make reservations for donkey shows while they're at work.
Right.
Yeah. But
I mean, in Elias's phone looked like a typical Nokia brick, the kind that could crack concrete and wouldn't take damage itself. But yeah, I actually had one of those myself at that same time. And when I was working, hopefully the cat did not cause problems. Let's see here. Y'all can still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, the cat decided to walk across the keyboard. But yeah, back in those days, I actually had a Nokia myself, and they would use that for crisis call, so that in an emergency situation where somebody would trying to hurt themselves or others, they would call, and I would have to answer from that. So I was very familiar with that Nokia and that traditional like Verizon like ringtone, that do that type thing. So I saw that and I recognized it immediately. I'm like, ugh, that's a remnant of those times I do not want to ever come back to. But I still, if I hear that ringtone, because I've had so many close to death moments because of that ringtone, I will have a minor panic episode when I hear it. It's just that way. But yeah, I remember those days. So yeah, he used that. So it probably cost his parents some money. And I'm sure Elias had to do some explaining. Why did you call this?
Elias, explain.
I left my phone out by accident. Somebody grabbed it. I don't know what happened.
And then Becky comes back in, and let's. Of course, you have the one episode where Randall is confronted with the guy who is also from his high school class, and he's actually successful. Yeah. And he hits a lot of nerves with Randall.
Yep.
And Randall has to leave, and Dante says, "Okay, where do you want to go?" And you can see, and I will give it this. That is one of the more important scenes in the film, in my opinion, where you can see their friendship taking place, where Dante says nothing other than, "Where do you need to go?" And they go to this go-kart thing because they know each other that well, and he knows that something happened that really just messed with him and just automatically went there for him.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got to give it to them. That was a well-written scene. It didn't seem like it at the time, but if you look at it underneath, that was very well done.
Mm-hmm. Now, granted, the way Jason Lee played Dowd, I could see how that guy would get under your skin and grind your gears. Even if he wasn't super successful, he was a complete douche. And
And a
Yeah.
lot of us have had that. You've got that person that you grew
Yeah.
up with in high school who's really successful, and you just don't believe they should have gotten that success because they were total dicks.
And they
And
rub it in your face, and
they
it's
really,
and that's where we get that scene with the flies and the urinal, and
Then
supposedly,
he hands it to Jay and Silent Bob.
yeah, yeah, and then sure, so he's even being a dick to people he doesn't know.
There's kind of a callback to Mallrats if you think about it.
Well, yeah.
Hey, you want a chocolate pretzel?
Now, supposedly, that one brief shot of Randall scooping the ice out of the urinal, supposedly that one brief shot was directed by Jason Mewes. He was given an informal director credit for that. Like,
that was an excellent scooping ice out of a urinal scene, if ever there was one.
Right. But was did this happen before or after the scene with Wanda Sykes?
I
Before.
don't remember. Before, I think, yeah.
Okay. And what about the I'm trying to remember, because a couple of these we mentioned the Silence of the Lambs reference. I feel like that happened before this.
Yeah, that happened before this.
And I feel like the musical sequence was a little bit later.
That was later. Yeah. That was later. That was because that was when you get the whole pregnancy announcement. That's towards the end of the film.
The super brief Ben Affleck appearance was before this.
Yeah, the Affleck's appearance was before that.
It's very brief.
Now, speaking of Wanda Sykes, let's go over that, because to me, a lot of the humor in this movie does not hold up for me, but this one does.
Although
I understand it should not, but it does.
I would be surprised if Kevin Smith would attempt this scene today.
Porch monkey.
Because it is funny in a lot of ways, because it is so messed up, and you think to yourself, man, somebody other than Tarantino writes this, because the lines they had Randall say in this,
and it's so we got these two customers, Wanda Sykes, and I guess Earthquake is the name of the guy who plays her husband. I guess he's a stand-up comic. I think they played their parts perfectly.
Oh, they play their parts perfectly. I love how he's like, racism doesn't have a taste.
He keeps trying to take the food. but yeah,
Randall trying to take the phrase back.
Yeah,
he even says the N-word. I mean, that is he
says a bunch of words he shouldn't have said.
Oh my!
He just digs himself his hole a little bit deeper.
And of course, Dante and Becky are both like, "What are you? No, you can't say that." And he's like, "Well, my grandma used to say it, and she meant it as a term."
Well, and on the back of his shirt is Porch Monkey.
Well, he does that later. He does that
later, David.
Which, by the way, the term itself, which I will not say myself because it is a derogatory term.
Yeah,
and it is a derogatory racial term that, and as she explained, it was a term created specifically to deride a race of people. Yeah. It's not like you could have that they used it for anything positive beforehand. Yeah. And Randall's got this sitting there right under the back of his shirt later on in the movie because he's going to reclaim it. I'm taking it back.
Well, there's after the customers have stormed off, and after Becky has stormed off, he keeps digging himself deeper, talking about his grandma and how she was such a sweet old lady, and Dante's still telling. And then finally, he gets. Come to think of it, she might have been a little racist. Dante's like, "You think?"
Then he goes to the little girl that's at the counter and calls her that. You little.
Oh yeah.
Say no, don't worry, I'm taking it back. It's that one. I admit that was so absurd and so horrid in a lot of ways that it just still makes me laugh because of how absurd it is.
Yeah.
Well, and Randall honestly seems surprised that word is offensive to people.
Randall's out of touch a lot of times when it
Yeah.
comes to what people care about because he doesn't really care about people.
Right.
Right. All right.
It's not an endearing term like he would say.
Yeah.
But I do find it funny that he writes on tape on the back of his shirt.
That he's taking it back or something.
Yeah.
No, he just writes it, this for life. And that's like, oh my God. Yeah, it's just like, oh my. But it is one of the funnier bits in this.
I do have to admit, and maybe I'm out of touch, I have to admit this was my first time hearing that term. I don't think I'd ever heard it before I saw this movie.
I've heard the term before, but I grew up in the South.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I heard that.
Now, most of the subsequent terms that Randall used, I was familiar with, and
I like he just lists them all off. But you said something, Tammy.
Unfortunately, I heard that one and a lot of the other ones that he rattled off because my mother was racist.
So are you trying to take it back, Tammy?
I never agreed with the stuff she came up with, and she didn't limit it to only one certain particular race.
Yeah.
With the things that she came up with, there was something for. She had a little saying for just about anybody you could think of out there.
I can imagine.
So.
Just like Randall's grandmother.
Yep.
So like I say, there's a part of me that says that I shouldn't find it funny, but there is a part there because it is and this really is a more updated take on the happy, scrappy scene, if you think about it.
In a way, yeah.
Because it is just as freaking inappropriate.
Yeah. Of course, in that one, it was a little more focused on the mental scarring of this poor child. But with just with sexual terms.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's apparently one thing that they kind of wanted to do in the movie. I think I read that when Dante picks Randall up early on, like he picks him up from home, I think it was like the house that Kevin Smith grew up in or something. But apparently they originally were going to have a scene involving Randall's father, who they wanted Alec Baldwin to play him. And I can imagine where that might have gone.
Well, I mean, there are some cool little asides, and there's one at the end that'll come out. But well, we'll move forward in the story, and the next big scene. And of course, I'm trying to skip a lot of little scenes. There's a million of these little jokes.
Oh yeah,
that come, and then we go to the part where Becky realizes that maybe she does have feelings for Dante. And so she decides to start to work towards talking him out of marrying her. And Dante writes in that his main fear is that he doesn't know how to dance. So she takes him to the roof, also reminiscence of Clerks in that sense. There's a lot of Clerks callbacks if you really look for them.
Oh, yeah.
And she decides to teach him to dance. In a scene that is very hypnotizing, and of course you get back to the scene where it's like, "Is that you, Lord?" with her saying, "Turn on the boombox at something danceable." So they go to something metal like that, and there's like something more danceable than that.
Yeah, they turned it on, and it's King Diamond. Like, no.
Yeah.
Then of course they do ABC, which classic Jackson 5 track. But you had said, Jake, that you liked the scene a lot. To me, I thought that the dance number was a bit over the top and unneeded in this movie, but that was my opinion.
Yeah.
And for others who like it. And I'll admit, Rosario Dawson's dance was very hypnotizing. So I understand the looks that Dante gave, and but it did give you a look of that. That was that look of pure love that he was giving her.
Yeah,
It was cute. I think the dance scene was cute.
I think in a movie that was full of excesses, I think it was one of the more charming excesses. You know, it wasn't necessary, but if they're going to have all these excesses in the film, throw in a couple that aren't just dick and fart jokes. You know what I mean?
It was weird, but I'm not gonna say it was entirely wrong to have a weird dance number in between. But
Well, and also, another thing occurred to me, and I don't know what you guys thought about this. It may have also been partly on my mind because of how prominent in the world discussion, for various reasons, how prominent the village people have become in the conversation. I felt like this was the actual village people, because it was such a random cross section of people. You know what I mean?
yes,
Like, it looked like they were going out of their way to have as many different people dancing in this part as they could, which I thought was kind of fun and kind of cool. But
so what were the rest of y'all's opinion of this whole dance sequence?
I liked it. I enjoyed it. I didn't even think that it was over the top. I just thought it was, part of the thing. So
The end of it, of course, Dante finally says that he loves her, which they've been kind of teasing that off and on throughout this movie. And then she ends up telling him that she's pregnant.
and he drops her.
Yes. Which I guess is expected in the scene like that.
Yeah.
It comes across correctly. Then immediately he tells Randall,
Of course.
which most of us would say, no, don't do that.
Yeah.
And then he tells Randall like he will beat him up if he says anything to anybody. So of course Randall immediately blows it all back to Becky when she comes out.
And this is all taking place with Jay and Silent Bob right there.
I do like Jay Silent Bob. Like Jay's trying to take a leak, and then they end up smashing with the damn door.
Yeah. Which I have to admit, given that we have a very big problem with people congregating near a door where I work, there are places that you probably don't want to stand at a place of business. And I saw that and I'm like, Jay, man.
Well, as they say in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, they are clown shoes.
Yeah.
There is no doubt in my mind about that, and I think that Kevin Smith probably agrees with that. But of course, then she ends up fleeing, and Randall is still kind of in that place where he's kind of thinking, well, maybe I did something wrong.
Yeah.
But he's not quite sure. But then the donkey show guy is showing up, and he's like, go after her. You should at least try for at least an hour or so. Just
Yes. Go for an hour.
and then come back.
Yes.
As of course Kelly and the sexy stud arrive.
Right.
So you get a montage, and you have two montages throughout. You have the one montage where it's there, and you also have the montage with Randall, and he's also thinking back to a lot of times with Dante, and you can tell that there is that fear of what's going to happen when Dante is gone.
Mm-hmm.
And they're setting up for Kelly and the sexy stud. Of course, Dante is unsuccessful in finding her. He comes back and he sees a lot of smoke, and he calls the fire department, which comes back to us later. And calls back to the beginning of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then we find out that, of course, surprise, we're putting on this donkey show for you.
Mhm.
And we find out that Kelly is the donkey and the sexy stud is the guy with
Mhm.
him because it's a male donkey.
Right. Mhm.
That is a scene that is an infamy. And of course, Rosario Dawson, Becky comes back to the store during the time and immediately forgets everything else because the donkey show just takes everything.
Yeah. And meanwhile, Elias is friggin' hammered.
And very turned on by the whole thing. You
Yes.
find out that,
Disturbingly so.
and of course, the rest of them were just shocked at the whole thing because they were expecting a woman to be doing that. And then, of course, that is not the case.
They all may be shocked, but they all keep looking.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, she had said, it's like a car wreck. You just can't look away. So eventually they do get out and they talk.
Mhm.
And Dante eventually expresses his love for her. And she does accept his love. And he breaks up with his fiance in a very rough moment. And then the police come.
Yeah. She like brings a cake and she ends up throwing it at him, and yeah.
Well, I mean, and what's funny is that Jay actually indicates the cake to do that with.
And when the authorities show up, one of them, I think it's the fireman actually, is Kevin Michael Richardson, who was a major part of the voice cast of the animated series. He gets a little cameo in the movie. So the and I don't remember, he had like one line, I think it was, but yeah, the
So then everybody goes to jail.
Yep.
Yep.
And then we have a whole Seinfeld moment.
Well, we have a rehash of the end of Clerks, really, where Dante and Randall have that falling out.
It's a little less physically violent.
Yeah, well, less physically violent, but it is essentially the same thing. I love how they look to Kevin Smith, and Kevin's like, "I got nothing."
Yeah, it's like he thinks about it for a minute, and he kind of, does some little stuff with his hands, and yeah, I got nothing.
Yeah, I thought he was going to come up with some big old thing like he did in the other one, but he didn't.
They all did.
And Smith said in the things like they knew like look, this is something that had to come from Randall. It couldn't be easily wrapped up like it has been in the previous View Askew. Right. And I mean, the thing that Kevin Smith does say is he just like gives he unloads on Jay. I was like, all you do is like say this and that and all this stuff, and you can tell there's that little rift between them, but never really goes bigger than that. But eventually they do come to a head, and they have that serious moment in the jail where Randall for once opens up, which is more than you saw from Randall in the first movie. And to me, actually, the jail scene is one of the few scenes in this where I do feel it is a truly deep scene that they had.
Oh, yeah.
There were others, but this one was definitely a well-done scene where you get to understand that feeling of that loss that, that he feels that, this is the end. What am I doing with my own life? And as much to himself as anything else, when Dante says, well, what do you want to do? What does the wise Randall think of wanting to do? And Randall says, well, I would buy the Quick Stop for myself, and then I would run it. And it's as if he never really thought of it himself. He ends up thinking about it, like, wow, that actually is an interesting idea.
Mm-hmm.
And Jay and Silent Bob happen to have the money.
Mm-hmm.
And all they ask for is to get rid of the restraining order that they got in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. And well, Jay had another demand, but they decided. But Silent Bob vetoed that.
Yeah, and apparently there was a scene that was left out that I'll be honest, when I watched this movie, and I think even this time when I watched it, I think I always just kind of assumed that somehow they had enough squirreled away from their dealing.
Yeah.
But apparently there was a scene that explicitly stated that it was the money they got from the movie.
Yeah.
But I don't know how I had never really made that connection myself, but it's either
the
way.
jail scene was one of the scenes that they cut when they were really doing, because the jail scene was much longer apparently at one point.
Mm-hmm.
But I really felt it was very touching, and it worked out well because they made up, and you end the scene with them putting together, rebuilding the quick stop in the movie place, and them working together, sitting at the counter as they had in the first movie, as the sequence goes to black, and they even have Kevin Smith's mother reprising her role as the milkmaid in a similar tracksuit, not the same one, but a similar one,
right?
Looking at the milks. And apparently, according to Kevin Smith, they actually played the original track that they played at the end of Clerks when they originally ended it. And that almost had people break into tears at the end. Which, this was an interesting end to the Clerks franchise. I do feel like looking at the ending of the third movie, it actually makes me feel even more. It hits me in the feels a little bit more, knowing how the third movie ends. But it is still, I think it was still a pretty cool ending. I do think the third movie ends the Clerks franchise better, but I do feel like it was a good ending. What did y'all think of all that?
Well, there were a number of callbacks. Like when they reopened the store, there are definitely a number of callbacks to the first movie. You get the dude coming in a pack of cigarettes. You got to have one of those. They had the whole first movie, they had the sign, "I assure you we're open." Here they put up a sign saying, "I assure you we're reopen."
They have that shoplifter sign, please.
Yes, yes. If you plan to steal, please let us know. Yeah, so they did, and it is interesting how the movie starts and ends in grainy black and white, and the rest of it's in color, and that's kind of a nice, touch.
Because there was no intention of doing a Clerks 3, just like there was no intention of doing a Clerks 2. As much as Kevin Smith claims that he had thought about having a Clerks 2 at the beginning. I really don't agree with that. I mean, I'm not in his head or anything, but I don't know about the rest of y'all, but after watching Clerks 1 and the way intentional and wanted it to end originally, I really don't think he had been envisioning a Clerks 2 at the time.
No,
but I think by the time he got to a certain point, there were thoughts, I'm sure. Like,
I think that there were thoughts after Jersey Girl.
Well, I mean, even before then,
part of me.
Like, I think I read something to the effect that that last scene with the milkmaid in the store was something he had in mind by the time he did Jay and Silent Bob, at least. So it might have been sort of tickling his brain, like, I might want to come back to this. But it could well be that nothing was definite until what happened with Jersey Girl.
Yeah, Kevin Smith has claimed that he has had this script in mind since Dogma.
Right.
But
Well, actually, even further than that, like supposedly the movie took a lot of elements from a script he never made that he had as far back as the first movie.
But again, I don't know. I think that because there's a part of me that really feels that if Jersey Curl had done amazing, had been big, we would have never seen Clerks 2.
Maybe, maybe not. I
I
don't
think
think it
that
would have come.
if he had managed to find big success
Well,
in his new
there is a
found ability, I think he wouldn't have come back. And if he did, it would have been decades later.
well, there is another thing that talking about decades later. This movie was one of several that came out in the early mid aughts. There were several that came out that were sequels or spin-offs of movies that were a decade or so old. And it wasn't the only one. And I feel like it could well be, and I don't think it was the first one either. I feel like there were a couple others that came before. So him deciding to revisit the well might have also been being inspired by that. And actually one that, and I haven't heard anything about this. This is partly conjecture on my part. But no, that one's not one of them. Wait. Yes. Okay, I am remembering correctly. So he definitely said, he was very vocal, that Clerks was heavily inspired by Richard Linklater's Slacker. And I know that he definitely was into Linklater's work. And 2004 was the release of Linklater's Before Sunset, which is a 9 years later sequel to Before Sunrise. It could well be that might have been part of his inspiration too. If he was a Linklater fan, he might have been like, "Oh, well, he was able to come back to this."
And I will say, Clerks was worlds above Slacker.
I still need to see Slacker, but I've seen the Before movies, and they're quite good. But,
and again, I feel like Before went too far too. I think Before Midnight, for instance, was a step too far. But that's just my opinion. But that's what these are. These are opinions. We don't have Kevin Smith, and even if we had Kevin Smith, I don't have mind reading powers to get the full truth out. Anyway, so
you don't
be able to tell you what we think. I mean, we each have different opinions. It is my opinion that he's had this in the back of his head, and he had it in case of emergencies, and he saw what happened to that, and he was having an episode of depression and anxiety, which Kevin Smith has been known for having major depression and anxiety episodes, and panicked and went back towards where he knew he felt like he could actually gain his audience back. Now, is that true? I don't know. I'm not in his head. It could be exactly as he said, that he had planned it for a long time and that things were just right at the time. I don't think so. I think there was a mental health crash, and that he ended up, and that Clerks 2 came from that crash. But that's me. Again, like I say, Kevin Smith will never hear this, so that's okay. He'd probably
we never did get Moose Jaws.
What?
Moose Jaws has still been in, according to Kevin Smith, it's still in production. You never know.
It's listed on IMDb as a 2025 release.
Because he keeps saying that they keep running into issues with it, and they'll keep working on it. I've now seen all of Kevin Smith's directed films, including Kilroy, and
I love IMDb's description, like Jaws, but with a moose.
But
straightforward.
But that was Clerks too. Now we don't see Kevin Smith Kevin Smith, in my opinion, kind of floundered around after that because
Well, his next
I mean,
feature,
Zack and Mary was really good.
it was good. It was underrated and no one saw it, but it was good.
It was a weird, but it was almost an aside.
Yeah.
I mean, but you had a lot of
Then
these.
he did
Red
Cop
State,
I like Red
Out,
State.
which was-
I will defend,
yeah,
and
Cop
he
Out,
did
which
Tusk.
was
Huh?
much to me. Cop Out was exactly what he described as Jersey Girl, which was the studio running the show the entire time.
From what I heard, I never saw Cop Out. It's one of the few I haven't seen.
It's not
He
good.
didn't even write it, so that's part of it right there. He just took over as director. Yeah,
And we found out later that Bruce Willis took the role because he knew that he was having issues with the dementia and he needed to get as many parts in as possible to build up as much money as he could before he would get to the point where he could not work anymore, which is sad. I mean, really, I feel bad for Bruce Willis in a lot of ways.
yeah.
And he and Kevin Smith had a terrible relationship after that film until Kevin Smith found out about the diagnosis and what was really going on. And Kevin Smith formally apologized, saying, look, I did not know what's going on, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, with all that being said, any final words on Clerks 2?
Well, I came away from it liking it better than Clerks, and that's my opinion. So, I feel like the acting was done more crudely. Some of the dialogue was definitely more crude, but I guess I liked the crude.
Apparently,
to a certain extent.
Apparently, you're not alone. I'm looking here on IMDb's rankings. Clerks 2 has the same rating as Dogma, 7.3. The only one that has a higher rating is Clerks, which is 7.7. Chasing Amy is 7.2.
Which we have to watch one of these days. We have to do that.
Yeah. And then all the others kind of spiral down from there. You got Mallrats at 7.0. Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back at 6.8. You got Zack and Miri at 6.5. Clerks 3 is at 6.2. It's like actually Cop Out has a higher ranking than or Yoga Hosers.
Which is weird because Cop Out was horrible.
Yeah.
Yoga Hosers was also horrible, so I can't really
Yoga Hosers was horrible.
I would say Tusk was decent, but it only has a 5.4. So and Jersey
Tusk
Girl
was
6.2.
one of his best, I think.
Yeah. So it's interesting because it's like the IMDb rankings definitely don't fall where I would have expected, but it does show that there's affection for this movie even now.
I mean, if you would hear Smith talk about it, it was the best Clerks film. But again, that was when he first came out with this.
I'm surprised Clerks 3 is so low rated. And
apparently this was one of the first times they revisited Cannes with a film since Clerks.
Yeah.
Believe it or not. And that was at Weinstein's encouragement, for better for worse.
Yeah. And apparently it got a very warm reception at Cannes.
Yeah, it did.
Although not all the critics. I read that one critic claimed that there was the first movie in many years that they walked out of.
Apparently it got negative reception at first, but apparently it did get love at the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that Clerks 2 is a flawed piece, but still enjoyable as a movie overall.
Oh, yeah.
And not the last time we see the well, but we don't see Jay and Silent Bob again until next week's film, oddly enough, which is Jay and Silent Bob, the reboot, which is many years later.
Yeah, that was a good way later, yeah.
And we will talk about that next time.
Mhm.
But before we get to next time, because we're just going to jump right into it, you know. What is your favorite scene? And let's say favorite lowbrow humor movie. When I say lowbrow humor, I mean like movies that are mostly fart and dick and fart jokes, as Kevin Smith would say.
Didn't we do that one recently? I don't know. Maybe.
Things like Animal House and so on. So we'll start with you, Jake. What is your favorite scene and what is your favorite dick and fart joke movie? We talked raunchy comedies last time, but this one, dick and fart jokes specifically. So really raunchy comedies this time.
Really raunchy. Okay. Well, I think we've mentioned several scenes that I really like or moments that I like, but I'm trying to remember what I would say. I'm trying to think what I would say would be my favorite for this one. I really do like the scene where Randall describes the Lord of the Rings. I do think that's kind of hilarious. I really do like the scene, the whole dance sequence, Jackson 5 sequence. I find that fun. And I've got to admit that scene with Randall and the customers with Wanda Sykes and is inappropriate as it is. Partly, I enjoy seeing Randall dressed down so hard for his inappropriate behavior. But also, again, just the way that whole thing plays out, I think was well done.
What was it? White stain? Is that what white people?
And the one part where where the guys, something was like, you can't taste racism or whatever, like he just wanted his damn food.
He wanted that.
That was kind of funny. So I guess I'll go with that. Now, as far as raunchy comedies,
like truly dirty, like
really dirty. Like even more so than this. It's hard to say. Like I enjoy, as I've said before on this channel, I think when it comes to sex, people are way too prudish and uptight. But then there's also the more fart joke part of it, the whole more just trying to gross you out part of it. And that I'm less amused by. I do think that Kevin Smith's movies are high on that list for me. And like I said, this is probably his raunchiest one in my mind. He's had better ones that might not quite check that box. Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back would be one that I might put, if I was trying to say the best raunchy comedy he did, maybe that one would be at the top. I mean, Zack and Mary Make a Porno, it's right there in the title. That's a pretty raunchy movie.
It's a really good movie.
But it's a good movie. It's one of his better films. So that one maybe.
It's one of the best Kevin Smith films that nobody has heard of.
Yes. Chasing Amy has a lot of raunch to it. the Deadpool movies have a lot of raunch to them. You mentioned Animal House. If I were to just think of something that I think of as going too far down that road, but it's still funny, arguably Sausage Party and probably any movie by Matt Parker and Trace Stone, Parker and Stone, be like the South Park movie, for example. That's raunchy as hell, but it's hilarious at the same time. So
I'll never get the taste of 2016 out of Sausage Party as a mountain.
yeah, no, I mean, come on. I was on my deathbed and you gave me that as a get well present. I mean, that's but it does have its moments. And part of it is, I think part of it for me is the whole idea of Salma Hayek playing a lesbian taco just screams death in so many ways. Like, I feel like that's probably Deadpool's favorite movie. But I don't know.
I do think it's a good one of those movies that, and I need to watch it again. The problem is when I watched it.
It does go.
I mean, me and Kim, Sarah, and Nick, we all watched it at the same time during 2000. Were you with us during that? No, you weren't with us.
No, I saw it on I saw my copy, but I would have loved to watch that with a preacher. Hilarious.
To me, I always associate it with the 2016 election, which is
the sad thing is, I would wager Nick probably enjoyed it more than anyone else.
It was an interesting thing to have while we were sitting and watching it together.
Yeah.
These days, I'm not even sure I can imagine just it being a weird get together with just me and Kim, Sarah, and Nick, but apparently it was.
Yeah.
People that most of y'all don't even know. Thank you. Let's see here. Is this open panel? Let's see here. 11:15. Oh, you're just doing it. Well, I mean, if you have, let's see, Baron Weiss. If you have a favorite scene or favorite raunchy comedy you want to throw out, feel free to let us know. We will be glad to. I will be glad to put it up here if you have that. If you have a love for Clerks too, while everybody else is doing that. So definitely, I will be glad to throw it out there. And if you do it while Dave is back in charge, Dave will look at it and he'll read it out.
Definitely.
But one could also probably mention the first two Austin Powers movies. For that matter, the original Casino Royale, that was pretty raunchy.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah,
baby, yeah.
All right. So, Tammy, what was your favorite scene and what's your favorite, like, I guess, really filthy comedy?
Let's see, a favorite scene. I was laughing at Jay doing that whole scene he was doing from
Silence of the Lambs.
Yes.
So was I.
I couldn't stop laughing. I mean, I heard the music first, and I'm like, and it clicked out. It clicked immediately what the music was, and then I'm looking at him going, "Oh no, he isn't." And then he's doing the whole thing, and I'm like, "He is." Oh my!
Oh yes, he is.
Oh, yeah.
So, what's a favorite, like, dirty comedy? Any type of, like, one that involves sex or bad language or whatnot?
Police Academy.
All right, well, that one is definitely a raunchy comedy.
Oh yeah.
They had a lot of those.
I like all the Police Academy movies.
Actually, that would have been a good one for franchise year. Yeah,
We couldn't have fit them all in. It was-
that's true. That's true.
The only
Or the
other one that
name.
that's kind of raunchy in its own way is Blazing Saddles.
And of course, we did cover one. We got to mention American Pie as well. We did those earlier this year.
Yeah, we did.
They were pretty raunchy.
Whatever happened to Gutenberg? You know, he was on top of the world, and then he just was not
He
there.
wasn't.
He
But I
came
think
back in.
I think Blazing Saddles is kind of raunchy in its own way too.
He came back as Old Man Geezer in Lava Lantula and Tulaba Tulantula.
Well, what about you, Dave? What was your favorite scene, and what's your favorite raunchy comment?
Oh, I think my favorite scene was watching Jay do the whole Silence of the Lambs thing. But I also got a kick out of the nerd Star Wars versus Lord of the Rings conversation. I liked that. I know the guy who came up to the counter. He was in Alias for a while as a double agent on the show. And I've seen him in several other shows that I've watched. So, but I thought that was hilarious. Oh, and the part where Randall ended up talking to Elias about his girlfriend, and then his full response when he silently walked away. That was
yes.
that was classic to me. So to me, there were several different things I liked about this, and
well, yeah,
I
you
can't
can't
tell
forget
you.
about those. Can't forget about those trolls. You know.
Yeah, you can't forget about those trolls. And I haven't even seen the troll
Trolls.
movies. I mean, I've seen Troll in Central Park. I've seen Trolls 1 and 2, but I have not seen the DreamWorks Trolls movies. So
Well, maybe they're the ones that reference that, you know.
I don't think there was a character named Pillow Pants in that movie.
no.
What was the
I
other
don't know.
one?
Have you seen it? Yeah, there could have been.
Oh, I've seen the first one. What was the name of the other one? It was
There's like 3 of them now. Isn't it?
yeah. Oh, the one in her mouth. Why he couldn't kiss her was
It started with an L, I thought, or something. It was some.
yeah. Lister Fiend, I think it was.
Yeah, Lister
something like that. Yeah.
Like Listerine, you know. Yeah. So, Dave, what are some favorite raunchy movies you got?
Oh, Flesh Gordon 1 and 2. Especially 2. I have a fascination for Flesh Gordon meets the Cosmic Cheerleaders. And then you can't forget the Austin Powers movies. The In Like Flint movies. Those were pretty good. With James Coburn.
All right. Well, to me, of course, my favorite scenes, it's debatable. When it comes to well-written scenes, I would say the jail scene. But when it comes to scenes that are funny, the scene with Wanda Sykes, it just is hilarious to me. Just one, that's a scene that would never fly today with writing. But 2, it is hilarious nevertheless. Now, raunchy films for me, I would say things like Eurotrip or what's the original Road Trip, I believe is the original one.
Road Trip.
And then, of course, the Cheech and Chong movies as reference. Or
Freddy Got Fingered?
No, I'm not going
to. Is that anyone's favorite?
Because you said favorite. No, that doesn't help. But any of the Cheech and Chong movies also.
Were they super raunchy?
What was that?
I said, were they super raunchy? I don't.
Oh yeah, they were definitely
Cool.
raunchy. If you watch the
I don't
original,
remember
like,
them.
that one or Nice Dreams, both very raunchy films.
Okay.
Up in Smoke especially, but
Hmm.
of course we've never covered those, so of course how would we know?
Yeah, we need to do that. And we've covered a couple on this channel, certainly. And one that occurred to me that definitely fits the bill would be Killer Rack. But
We've covered raunchy movies, but we've never covered a Cheech and Chong film.
yeah, that is weird.
So the original stoner comedies.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But with that said, unless Baron Wise wishes to comment, I am going to give this back to Dave. You still have a chance, of course, if you want to comment, and we will be listening and watching. But Dave, I give it back to you.
Alrighty. Well, I believe that's it for our discussion on this particular movie. But hopefully you have enjoyed our discussion, and maybe you have at least watched the movie. And if you have, go ahead and comment down below where we can, learn about your opinions and what you thought, and whether you thought that we were just entirely wrong. That would be nice too. So, and that being said, was there anything that anyone needed to announce before we?
I mean, on Monday, my channel at SeptumSin versus the World will be trying to do a. It's kind of open. I mean, if you are a Facebook friend of mine, which you can still be. I mean, if I look at you and you don't look like a bot, I will do that. Welcome to, of course, join me. I'm doing a massive pickup on Monday where I'm just trying to clear out all of the films and my need to pick up a section, which were upgrades / condensations. So, of course, if you are a Facebook friend of mine, from 6 p.m. Eastern time, you can always send me a message, and I can send you the link to come online and discuss. Several of us will be there. Maybe Dave will show up for some time, maybe Jake for some time. Who knows who might show up to react to these weird and strange upgrades that I have. I have a large amount. If you haven't seen the picture, I have a big block of them. But I wanted to go ahead because I'm really trying to eventually reorganize my collection, but I don't want to do it until after I have gotten all of the pickups done.
Mm-hmm.
And Jake knows, he's seen the wall.
Yeah.
I've got to do some massive pickups things. Matter of fact, the next big one I'm planning on doing this November is a Criterion pickup, which hopefully Jake will come on with me for and show what Criterion ones he has still in stock, though I think I'll still have more.
Oh, yeah. I have a couple on order. But
So we'll do that towards the end of November. So we'll also have that as well. But Monday is that if we all decide to watch season 3 of Adventure Time in time, we'll do the anime anticlimax next Wednesday. Not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday. But I just don't see that happening.
Wednesday of next week?
Yep, Wednesday of next week.
Yeah, I doubt that would.
So, but we'll say Wednesday, 2 weeks from now. I think that's doable.
Okay.
Oh, for which?
Season 3 of Adventure Time.
Oh, okay.
So let's shoot for that. So we'll see each other then. But yeah, that's all I've got.
Yeah, I didn't even realize you were guys were shooting for that. Otherwise, I would have started watching. But in any case,
2 weeks. I think 2 weeks is enough time to get a season in.
yes, I do believe because they are that short.
So, yeah.
So, all right, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully you enjoyed our discussion. I know I certainly did. And we
I was
will.
hoping Baron O'Wise would have talked to us. Oh well.
I was hoping too, but I guess we saw his message way too late. But in any case, like, share, and subscribe, and I guess we'll see you guys next a week, where we will talk about Rebooted. Everyone say good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Inside movies galore, just makes you just want more. We've had all in the world of media to explore. Horror, anime, or Curious George. Our love of new things was our reward. It is the best night of our week.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.